to Litbit channel. Today we will see the Affliction of Margaret by William Wordsworth, book by question answer in impression. First one, why does Margaret says that her son is worse to me than dead? In this poem, she has been waiting for her son's return for many years, but he has not come back. She is saying that not knowing his fate is worse than knowing his dead. The son's absence is worse than his death, so that the author expressed the depressions and grief of mother. In this poem, Margaret conveys the intensity of her emotional sufferings and the depth of her sense of loss. Wordsworth used this phrase to highlight the complexities of human emotions and the devastating efforts of uncertainty and abandonment. Next question. What details of the son do we get from the poem? Attempt the character sketch of the boy in about 100 words. In this poem, he was a young boy when he left his mother's cottage. He was handsome with a face so fair. He had a smile so sweet. He was loved dearly by his mother Margaret. He has been absent for many years with no communication or return. His absence has caused his mother's immense pains and distress. Sketches of the son appears to be a charming and enduring young boy with a captivating smile and attractive appearance. He was deeply loved by his mother Margaret, who remembers him fondly. However, his prolonged absence and lacking of communication suggests a sense of detachment or indifference, which has caused his mother's immense sufferings. Despite his physical attractivity, his actions reveals a lack of empathy and responsibility, leaving his mother to bear the brunt of his absence. Next one, what does the mother says about the things endured that wanted grace? In this poem, the mother says, if anything happened that was less than perfect or lacking in elegance, Margaret is saying that she tried to find comfort and solace in things that normally bring her joy or peace, but they lacked their usually charms or grace. She looked around, left her chair, and even went to fetch her sons, but he was not there. In this line suggests she is trying to distract herself from her grief, but nothing seemed to work. She felt empty and unfulfilled even in activities that usually brought her comfort. Her son's absence had taken away the joy and beauty from the things she normally appreciated. Margaret's words convey the depth of her emotional pain and the sense of disillusion that has consumed her life since her son's departure. Next one, what does the mother means by saying, I now can see with better eyes? In this poem, she means she has gained a new perspectives or insight into her situation. Her eyes, once clouded by hopes and expectations, are now clear and realistic. She can see the truth of her son's absence and the reality of her situation more clearly. Margaret is saying that she has come to accept the permanence of her son's absence and the finality of her loss. Her better eyes represents a newfound clarity and understanding, unclouded by false hope or illusions. This acceptance brings a sense of resignation and calm, as she can now see her situation for what it is truly is. This line suggests that Margaret has moved from a state of denial or longing to the states of acceptance and resignations, which is the significant emotional shift in the poem. What does the fowl of heaven signify? Contrast this with summon to the deep, to keep, and incommunicable. In this poem, the fowls of heaven signifies the birds that fly freely in the sky, that should be symbolizing freedom, joy, carefree extents, connection to the nature. The contrast idea of summoned to be deep, to keep an incommunicable sleep suggests that a call to the depth of the ocean. It should be symbolizing confinement, silence, isolation, disconnection from the world. The contrast between the two images highlights Margaret's emotional state. The fowl of heaven represents what her son has lost and what she longs for: freedom, joy, and connection. The deep, incommunicable sleep represents what her son has been summoned to: a state of isolation, silence, and disconnection. This contrast emphasizes the depth of Margaret's sorrows and sense of loss as she mourned the loss of her son's presence and the life he once had. The images of the fall of heaven serves as a poignant remember underscore the finality and irreversibility of that loss. Next one, I look for ghost. Does this means that she is giving up her son as dead? In this poem, William Wordsworth, it suggests that she is no longer expecting her son to return in bodily form. She has lost hope of seeing him again in life. She is now searching for any sign or presence of him, even if it is just as a spiritual or ghostly apparition. This line implies that Margaret has reached stages of acceptance where she has given up hope of her son's physical return. However, doesn't necessarily means she has given up entirely. Instead, she is now seeking comfort in the possibility of a spiritual or supernatural connection with her son. Adds a sense of poignancy and dispersions to Margaret's situation, highlights the depth of her emotional pains and her desire to hold on to any connection with her son. Next one, why does the mother says that all the world appears unkind? When the Margaret says, she means that everything around her seems harsh, unforgiving, and lacking in compassion. The world appears to be indifferent to her sufferings and loss. Even nature, which is often seen as a source of comfort, seems unresponsive and uncaring. Margaret's statement reveals her feelings of isolation, despair, and this emphasizes Margaret's emotional state, highlighting the intensity of her sorrow and the sense of abandonment. The world's apparent unkindness extract beats her feelings of loneliness and despair, making her loss even more unbearable. Wordsworth used these lines to convey the overwhelming nature of Margaret's grief, which distracts her perceptions of the world and makes everything seems hostile and unforgiving. Next question they ask, rhymes has an important contribution to make to the overall impact of the poem, and is the rhyme pattern followed for the entire poem, and what effect does it produce? The rhyme pattern is AB, CD, EF, GG pattern. In each stanza, the first and the third lines rhyme A. The second and fourth lines rhyme B. For example, in this stanza, face and place rhymes A. Son and gone rhyme B. This rhyme pattern is followed constantly throughout the poem with some slight variations. The effects of this rhymes pattern procedure: a musically quality, making the poem so more lyrical and expressive. Emphasis on certain words and idea, drawing attention to the poet's emotions and themes. Links between ideas and stanza, creating a sense of continuity and flow. A sense of structure and order which contrasts with the disorder and chores of Margaret emotions, the rhymes pattern also. It creates a sense of possibility which underscores the repetitive and observes nature. Create a sense of probability which underscores the repetitive and observes natures of Margaret grief. Add to the overall sense of melancholy and sorrow, as the rhymes often have a mournful or elegiac tone. Overall, the rhyme pattern in The Afflictions of Margaret contributes the poem emotional impact, musicality, and structural coherence, underscoring the poet's explorations of grief, loss, and memory. Thank you viewers. Thanks for watching this video.